Hello, everyone. Well, and welcome back to Real Time. My name's Tyler,
And I'm Molly.
and we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
We got another guest for you guys today. We have my best friend Alex.
Hey guys, Alex here from Capacity Geek, and I'm joined as... Wait, where the hell am I?
Well, you see, remember when you sniffed that funny rag last night?
Oh, god damn it, again?
Again, we have Alex here, and tell us a little bit about your show first.
Well, hey guys, my name is Alex, and a couple years back I did a show called Capacity Geek Podcast with my two friends, Bobby and Walter. And we haven't really done it in a while. You know, we all kind of got new jobs, new things in life and everything. So I've been out of the, kind of media game for a bit. But always happy to indulge my friends.
And today we are going to be talking about the Indiana Jones series.
Which is really interesting because I've noticed a lot on your show. You cover some movies like Clerks, for instance, and you mentioned that I'm the one who showed them to you for the first time. But very interestingly, this Indiana Jones movie is actually the first movie series we really bonded on, besides the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. And it's actually something that you showed me first.
Yeah, I guess I did do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going through each of the movies throughout this long day. Just going to marathon them back to back. Because, well, we're three people in our 20s with little else to do with our lives.
And if there's any Capacity Geek fans in the audience, or people looking for more additional Alex, Tyler, and Molly content, the second Christmas special of Capacity Geek was something a lot like this, where we just did a 4-hour movie marathon. And Tyler and Molly to an extent.
I wasn't allowed to speak.
She had a cameo in the Muppets Christmas Carol section.
Yes, we allowed her to speak for that. But, no, they did join us for the Capacity Geek Christmas special, the second one, where we talked about actual movies. This one might be a little bit different because there's the inclusion of alcohol. I was not drinking at the time, but now here we are. So we will progressively get more drunk.
I will not be drinking. For whoever is judging me, I am not drinking. I'm not getting drunk.
Yeah, she's gonna be.
Let me clarify.
She's gonna be drinking.
Also, for his Christmas Capacity to Geek episode, we covered two movies that we're going to be covering on the show here pretty soon. Well, we recorded them already, but we just got to actually upload them. So, we'll start.
See you on the other side.
Hold on.
Okay.
We're gonna start in the beginning with Raiders and go all the way to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and hopefully we remember to talk about our thoughts on the next movie after that.
See you on the other side.
We are back. We are going to talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark now, the first in the Indiana Jones, for the moment, quadrilogy. Now, this was released back in 1981. Steven Spielberg, of course, directed, with Harrison Ford starring, along with Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood, Indy's old flame and daughter of his mentor.
Possibly 13-year-old when they met, but
17-year-old. Paul Freeman as Indy's rival Belloc. Ronald Lacey as the creepy man in black Nazi Tote. John Rhys Davies as Indy's digger friend in Egypt, Sala. Denholm Elliott as his, I guess, boss at the school he works at, Brody. Alfred Molina in his very first film role ever as Sativo, the South American guide Indy is using in The Cold Open.
Player 2 on the first level of Indiana Jones, Lego Indiana Jones.
Yep, him too. And that's really it for the main cast of the movie. So, Raiders of the Lost Ark. What can we say about this absolutely iconic movie that really hasn't been said before? But we're going to say it anyways.
Well, I mean, it's quite obvious, thanks to the Big Bang Theory, that looking back at it, Indiana Jones has no real purpose in this film besides keeping Marion alive.
Yes, but we do not talk about Big Bang Theory on this show. So we're going to skip over what they have to say.
Well, I mean, it's true though.
I don't care. I don't care for Big Bang Theory. So I'm just gonna disregard what they have to say.
To me, I like this movie, but it starts to drag after a while.
All right,
and it loses my attention.
I kind of agree, but I will say that it does have a very quick opening. I'd say in about 20 minutes we're already in Cairo with Marion supposedly dead. But then after that it kind of takes kind of a slower pace. I do agree.
Yeah, it does slow down a bit, but it quickly picks back up after they find the Ark, get it taken from them, and then they have to go on this chase to get it back from Belloc and the Nazis. So, I agree. It does drag a bit in the middle, but we get back to what we're looking for, what we're here for, and honestly, I feel like the chase in the desert is my favorite part of the movie. Everything is clear. All the action is clear. No, there isn't any quick cut nonsense like we see today. We see everything in complete. I don't know why I'm having a loss for words here, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Like,
it's very well edited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So, there's some things you two may not know about this. Well, maybe you do, but I'm not so sure about you.
This is an audio show, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
No one knows who the yous are. Anyways, what do you know? Stop it. What do you know?
Well, jeez. Anyways. Well, did either of you know that pretty much all of the whole cast got sick during this movie?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That scene when the swordsman is doing his fancy shit. Harrison Ford had diphtheria or something like that.
Dysentery.
I knew he felt bad that day, and that's why he just wanted to shoot him instead of sword fighting.
Everybody besides Steven Spielberg, because the only thing he ate was SpaghettiOs from England.
He brought his own food.
SpaghettiOs from England.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford was doing his best not to crap his pants like John Rhys Davies did.
Oh yeah.
So he said, "Why don't we just shoot him?"
All right.
Makes sense. From a filmmaking standpoint and for Indy's character.
Right, but then I feel like, why doesn't Indy shoot more people? Like the guy on the plane, the big guy.
Well, you see, I don't know.
He had the high ground. All he had to do was shoot him.
True, but he was also trying to sneak up on that other guy.
But the other guy saw him at that point.
No, he didn't see him yet when the big guy first came.
No, yeah, he did. When he was calling him down, both of them noticed that he was there.
Yeah, but the pilot may have, as we saw, he had a gun, so then he would have the high ground on Indy. Then
why didn't the pilot shoot Indy?
Yeah, that's a question for the guy. I don't know. Some things you just gotta accept.
For nearly 3,000 years, man has searched for the lost Ark of the Covenant.
The Bible speaks of the Ark leveling mountains and laying waste to entire regions. Not something to be taken lightly. No one knows its secrets.
Jones, do you realize what the Ark is? It's a transmitter. It's a radio for speaking to God.
An army which carries the Ark before it is invincible.
The Ark. If it is there, Atanis, then it is something that man was not meant to disturb.
It is protected by forces beyond imagination. It is desired above all treasures on earth by those who are good,
Trust me.
and those who are evil.
I'll tell you everything. Yes, I know you will.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Better go.
We have no time. If you still want the Ark, it is being loaded onto a truck for Cairo.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. A film from Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
to that Greek island and had it there, then the Ark would have just been sitting there.
Yeah.
Which the Ark ends up just sitting somewhere at the end of the movie regardless. The U.S. government takes it, puts it in Area 51. We don't see it again until Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, is probably the smartest thing to do with the Ark if, you think about it. Because, I mean, let's face it. At the time Roosevelt was president, he had no legs. So, what's he going to do with the Ark?
Get legs.
He's not going to get legs. He's going to have to get himself a better wheelchair. Now, the story of how Indiana Jones came to be, most of you probably noticed, but I'm going to go through it anyways. So, back in the late 70s, after George Lucas had made a little movie, you may not have heard of it, it's called Star Wars. He was kind of worried about how this movie was going to do. So, he and Steven Spielberg took a trip to Hawaii, with their wives, and they were just sitting on a beach making sandcastles when they started talking about just movies and stuff. Spielberg had just finished making Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and they both had an agreement that whichever movie does the best, the other would get a percentage of the profits. Now, at the time, Star Wars became the highest grossing movie of all time. So, yeah, Spielberg came out of that pretty much on top.
Right. Now, let's not forget another anecdote of this. At the time, Spielberg was rejected by the Broccolis because he wanted to make a James Bond movie, but they felt like he was a little inexperienced.
He did want to do that.
The next movie he did after getting rejected from the Broccolis was Jaws. So, he kind of showed them there.
Wait, when did he get rejected by the Broccolis?
A little bit before Jaws. I think. What was the one around that time? Moonraker?
I don't know, but funny you should mention that. Spielberg actually got rejected by them a couple times.
Yeah.
Both before Jaws, when they thought he was too inexperienced, and after Jaws, when they feared he was gonna, take too long to make the movie and, cost them too much money.
Right.
Why
But
don't you explain what that is for people who don't know?
Why?
Like
well,
me.
money is the national currency.
No, Broccolis.
The Broccolis are the owners
Steamed
of the
vegetables?
James Bond franchise.
Okay.
Albert Broccoli was at the time.
And-
May he rest in peace till I'll get up there.
And his current daughter, Barbara Broccoli,
Yes.
his current daughter.
Barbara Broccoli. It's basically the family that owns the.
They own the rights to the Bond series.
Right. I think they bought it from Ian Fleming or something like that, or they mugged him for it or something like that.
And for a time, the Bond series couldn't use Spectre or Blofeld, which is why a nameless bald guy was killed off in one James Bond movie. But it wasn't Blofeld, but it was Blofeld.
Right. I bring this up because the idea of making a spy movie was very fresh in Spielberg's mind at this point. And during this conversation on the beach, Spielberg was saying to Lucas, "Oh, I want to make a spy movie," and Lucas, being Lucas, he's like, "I have a better idea. We have an action hero, and we call him
Indiana Smith." But then they figured Smith was too common a name, so they went with Jones.
Named him after the dog.
They did name him after George Lucas's dog, who he also based Chewbacca after.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, this movie is 40 plus years old, so if you haven't seen it by now, so we're not doing a spoiler warning for this, for any of these movies at all.
I do want to say, might be a hot take, and it might seem like I'm coming after the character of Indiana Jones a lot on this episode, but if you really think about it, this is the only time he actually succeeds obtaining the object that he's going after the entire movie.
Like going after the one he's going after the whole movie?
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, I guess there was the opening of Last Crusade where he got the cross, but
The Cross Coronado.
yeah.
But yeah, he did eventually get that. But what I'm saying is that the
main goal.
Yeah, the titular thing.
Well, he did get the stones in Temple of Doom,
But it was his plan to take it to the museum. He wasn't going to give it back to the village.
Mm.
But he
failed.
grew a heart and grew some balls and brought it back.
He failed successfully.
Yeah, he He's definitely had a couple more L's than he has W's in these movies.
It's okay. He wins the moral victory.
Yeah.
So, as far as Raiders goes, I'm not going to ask you guys who your favorite character was, because there's really very few options.
I don't know. I'd probably say Sala. I love John Rice Davies.
Yeah, he's a very wonderful character actor.
Yeah.
I especially love his work on SpongeBob SquarePants, where he played Man Ray.
Yes, that is a good performance.
Yeah.
It's a very odd choice. You know, Dr. Octopus, Fiddler on the Roof. Why am I blanking on Alfred Molina parts?
Yeah. The waiter in Vice, he was there too.
Vice?
Yeah, that Christian Bale movie about Dick Cheney.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he had a cameo as the waiter.
I know he's in Chocolat, but I haven't seen that.
Me neither.
Damn it! Why am I blanking on Alfred Molina roles?
Well, he was also in Frida.
Frida Kahlo.
Yeah. Calm down. He was also. Yeah, I'm blanking too. Why?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
He's a very prolific actor. Well, I mean, we best know him from Doc Ock.
Yeah, that's what most people know him as.
Yeah.
But what about your favorite scenes from this movie?
It's definitely gotta be the opening when he's at the Jovitos temple, just because that's like the most iconic scene. That is like Empire Strikes Back, Luke on the in Cloud City fighting Vader, the I am your father. It's the
it's the one that everyone parodies, the one that everyone knows.
Right, yeah. I specifically remember a Family Guy cutaway that was a recreation of that, where he's just taking such a long time before he grabs the idol with the bag of sand, and then for some reason they have Jackie Gleason dressed as his character from The Honeymoons, just telling him, "Well, you'll pick it up already." That's just, you know.
All right. What about you?
I was gonna say the same thing, just because it is classic. It sets up Indiana Jones. It's the first thing you see when you watch Indiana Jones.
You're a huge dork. You know
that was what I was gonna say. I'm sorry.
Now, I previously said my favorite scene is the chase in the desert. But if I have to choose something else, I'm gonna have to choose the ending, where they open the Ark of the Covenant, and all the Nazis get killed, and Toad's face gets freaking melted off.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I love the behind the scenes documentary on the DVD of how they did that scene. They layered all sorts of latex, wax, yarn, and stuff for the skull on top of a stone skull, and he did it with a blowtorch and heat lamps from all different angles, and just sped the footage up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is cool.
So, probably one of the best deaths in movies in general I've seen ever. Mm-hmm. Just it's so great.
So an interesting factoid I did want to bring up is, and I got this from one of my favorite podcasts, Now Playing Podcast, that scene in the bar when Belloc and Indy meet each other right after Indy thinks that Marion's dead, and everybody pulls out guns on him, and suddenly a bunch of kids crowd him around, and they just let him go. You don't think for a second, why are they just letting him go? Apparently back then, I don't know if it is now, but in Egypt, it was like a death sentence if you killed a child. So, it was smart to have Salah send out all his kids, because they weren't going to fuck around with those kids.
I mean, in general, and I would say in most countries, there's a death sentence if you kill a child.
Maybe.
I always saw it as they just thought it was so funny, kind of a refuge in audacity. You're not gonna expect a whole bunch of kids to come, tackle this guy that you're trying to kill. So it's just funny,
yeah.
But there's that too. These guys may be a whole bunch of mercenary scum, but they're not gonna kill kids.
Well, they are Nazis.
Well, no, they were Egyptians. Well, they could be Nazis
I'm
too.
sure there were some Nazis in that room.
There were actually, now that you mention it, Muslim battalions in the Waffen-SS during the Second World War.
Yeah. If they're working with the Nazis, I'm not sure if they're morally above killing children?
Well, we're not going to get into that. This episode is going to be long enough as it is.
Yeah. Speaking of killing children, time for Temple of Doom.
Yep, the Indiana Jones movie I've probably seen the most.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite one.
This one's not my favorite, but I've seen it the most. Because, just because the library I was at, they let you watch movies there. This was the only one they ever had whenever I wanted to go watch one of these movies. So I was like, okay, let's just watch Temple of Doom again. I've already seen it like 3 times this week already, but let's do it again.
All right.
So that'll have to do it for Raiders for us. It's a definite recommend from all 3 of us, I'd say.
Yes.
So we'll catch you guys in a little bit. And we're here again to talk about Temple of Doom, the second in the Indiana Jones series, and the only prequel so far.
Yeah.
Not counting the Young Indiana Jones TV show. I'm not sure if that's canon anymore, but we'll see.
We can always hope.
We can. But it's okay. Harrison Ford appeared on that one too.
For like an episode.
Well, he still appeared.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this one stars, of course, Harrison Ford is back as Indy. Chris Pratt wasn't alive yet, so he couldn't do it. Also, the future Mrs. Spielberg, Kate Capshaw as Willie Scott.
Lady only here because lady humping director.
Yeah. Ke Huy Quan, did I say that right?
Ke Huy Quan.
Yes, thank you. As Short Round. Now, he's recently come back to the spotlight with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. And then I believe...
He's also going to be in the next season of Loki.
Yeah. He's kind of having a resurgence, which, really begs the question. Should he come back to the Indiana Jones franchise?
Yes.
I imagine we're going to say everything we feel about Indy 5 after we talk about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
But, that's a question, definitely.
And, he was also recently nominated for a Golden Globe for his role in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Hopefully that leads to love from the Oscars. I would certainly hope so. He was absolutely amazing in that movie.
He was very good in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Also starring Amrish Puri as Mola Ram, the main villain of this movie. Roshan Seth as Shatarlal, his dragon in the movie. Philip Stone as Captain Blumbert, and we're only just realizing he was Mr. Grady in The Shining.
You call him a dragon?
Yeah, the dragon.
I thought he said he was the prime minister to the Maharaja.
No, this is a trope. The dragon to the main villain is basically his right-hand man.
Well,
like how the bad guy would have a pet dragon in like medieval stories.
He's Bob.
Sure, but the a better term for it is the dragon. That's what's used on TV tropes. Anyways, that's all the main players.
And Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, who
as Art Weber is his name.
Yeah, that's his name. And he was easier to see that it was Dan Aykroyd in this one because we're watching the 4Ks of these movies, which, by the way, look absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
I hope Last Crusade and Crystal Skull keep this up. So, Temple of Doom. For a time, this was the most controversial Indiana Jones movie. For very good reasons, I'd say.
I can see why.
The whole Indian part of the movie, when they're in India, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way back in 1984.
It even starts out a little bit controversial with having a white woman perform a Chinese number in a Chinese-inspired dress. A little bit of cultural appropriation.
Well, compared to the Indian stuff, that's not as bad.
Not as bad. It's a good warm up to it. There's a lot of racial stereotypes in this movie compared to the other Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah. Well, again, this is the 80s though, so that sort of thing is going to happen. We have a guy in this movie play both a Chinese man and an Indian, and he's a white guy. Pat Roach, the guy who played the big Sherpa in Raiders and the German mechanic who gets shredded by the propeller.
He's just the big guy in every one of these movies.
Yeah,
at least the first 3.
Well, in the third one, he appears on screen for like a few seconds. His scene was cut.
Yeah.
And he didn't appear in Crystal Skull at all because he died in 2004.
Of course he did. Anything to not appear in Crystal Skull.
So yeah, there was a lot of controversy over not only just the racial things in this movie, but also just the content in general. This was a pretty dark movie for the time. At the time, there was only 3 mainstream ratings: G, PG, and R. There wasn't anything between PG and R like we have today. This and Gremlins helped create the PG-13 rating that we know today.
Bless Steven Spielberg, director of the Flintstones.
Sure. Anyways, so yeah, this was a big contributing factor to the PG-13 rating. Parents wanted something, in between PG and R, because, there seems like there was a lot of gray area for some movies. Some movies that were that were rated R that really didn't need to be, like Halloween, and some movies that were rated PG that really shouldn't be, like Temple of Doom.
Right.
So it's this is an important movie for the I almost said ESRB, the movie rating system in general. Now,
You called it the ESRB?
no, I said I almost called it the ESRB.
Oh, okay. It's the MPAA.
Yeah. So, what are both of your experiences with this movie?
Well, like I said, this is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. It's probably the one I've seen the most just because, I really like the movie. Loved the segments in the Lego Indiana Jones game that were of Temple of Doom, and
Well, that was a pretty good game.
it was a great game. It was honestly a really great game. You don't have it, do you?
I don't think so.
Damn it.
It's either here or at my parents' house.
Oh, well.
I mean, I don't have a working PS3 here anyways.
You can probably grab it on your PS4.
Maybe. We'll check later.
We'll figure that out later. But, Temple of Doom is down and out my favorite Indiana Jones movie. Another, because I mentioned this while we were watching the movie, another Family Guy spoof was, they recreated the minecart scene in that episode of Family Guy where Peter and Stewie start bonding more. And there is also there's another cutaway from that has Stewie as Short Round. But I have to think if the other 2 movies, definitely not Crystal Skull, there might be something for Last Crusade.
Maybe, but
then also, because I mentioned it earlier, is the antidote for the poison you just drank is also a Family Guy joke. So so there's that. It's not as iconic as Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'll give it that, but it's my favorite. I know that people said up until Crystal Skull that this is like the worst one, but I really liked it. And then like I was saying, during the pandemic, I was dating someone, and we were having like virtual date nights, and we decided to watch this one week, and he thought it was super racist, and I'm just looking at it like, what do you mean this is? And that kind of opened my eyes to like the whole like everything. Like we're watching the menu screen right now, and there's literally a shot of just like Kate Capshaw in front of like a frozen monkey head, and like just that dinner scene, and then the scene where like the British come in at the end with the Indian government to like, there's a lot of themes of like colonization, and just there's a lot of shit here.
yeah, I mean, you saying that before Crystal Skull this was considered the worst one. I would only say that by default, given that all 3 are really good. So like the worst of a trilogy like that is still really good. It's like a situation like with the John Wick trilogy or How to Train Your Dragon. The worst of the trilogy is still really good. It's just not quite as good as the others.
This was the first Indiana Jones movie that I ever saw. I remember my parents showed me this one first. I don't know why.
It's weird.
I
Because
don't
of the
know.
Christian stuff in the other ones, they didn't want you to know yet.
Yeah. I don't know why. I guess maybe they thought, I don't know, I would pay attention more to this one. I don't know. But
why.
yeah, but this is the one that they showed me first for some reason.
That's weird.
So it is, yeah. My first Indiana Jones movie was this one.
I mean, my mom showed me Raiders first, and then this one.
Anybody from Capacity Geek over here should know that my parents are very not against media. They just don't really care about like older movies and stuff. So I had to discover a lot of stuff on my own or from friends, like with Tyler. But no, Raiders of the Lost Ark was definitely my first one. I just, this probably isn't a thing now. I don't have cable. I don't have like TV or anything.
Not a lot of people do anymore.
No. But like networks like USA or like the Sci-Fi Network, when there's a big movie coming out, they would play like the previous installments, which I'm sure they do that. Like FX probably plays a lot of MCU movies whenever a new installment comes out.
I think so.
Probably.
But I'm imagining it was USA because it was always like USA. Another example of this is the first time I saw Batman and Robin was just before seeing The Dark Knight because they played that.
That's quite the contrast.
Yeah, but obviously they played the Indiana Jones movies, leading up to Crystal Skull, and that's kind of like where I first got to see them was on TV, and I think it was with my cousin Mo, who was who was my first guest on Capacity Geek. But I think we watched a bunch of the Indiana Jones movies together then. And the Lego games, too, definitely. But that was kind of my first exposure to it.
Yeah, I like the Lego games. Well, the first one. I barely played the second Lego Indiana Jones movie. But the first Lego Indiana Jones game, I feel like the levels for Temple of Doom were probably the best ones. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just seems like this movie was more accessible to gameplay. You know
this
what I mean?
one is more action-y.
Yeah.
The other two, I will argue.
Yeah.
Like, if you see Indy at the end, there's a thing with, like, superhero movies where it doesn't really happen anymore because... And I love the MCU. I love the MCU, but the superheroes don't get beat the fuck up anymore.
Not really.
Like, if the Raimi Spider-Man movies... If you compare his suit from the beginning of the movies and the suit he wears at the end of the movies...
It's in pieces.
Yeah, he's beat up, he's all bloodied and everything. He's got, cracked ribs or whatever. Indiana Jones at the ending of Raiders, yeah, he gets beat up a little bit. Temple of Doom, yeah, he gets a couple of scrapes on him. Crystal Skull, I mean, he started that movie being old as shit. But Temple of Doom... his shirt's all torn up. He loses his satchel. He loses his jacket.
He's just doing his best at the end.
Yeah, he gets all sorts of scrappy in this movie. So,
sorry, what were you saying?
No, that's good.
Oh yeah. In Last Crusade, he has an excuse not to be all beat up though. He just drank from the Holy Grail.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But his outfit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's still like in the hat, the fedora. Well, he never loses the hat. The hat is the one thing he will keep.
Yeah, he always has his hat.
He gets himself a new satchel. He gets himself a new leather jacket. Those don't really matter to him. But in Temple of Doom, he gets all sorts of beat up. Everyone gets beat. Short Round gets smacked around
by Indy at one point too.
Yeah, Willie gets her heart like ripped out.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of.
I have a theory about that, but like we can get into that after this.
Well, one theory, and I pointed it out to you, is that, so that scene after the minecart where the water comes rushing out,
yeah,
I theorize that happened because he had the Sankara stones on him, and it kind of, because he was shouting water, 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 so the water was flooding out at him.
My thing with you said Willie got her heart ripped out. Like, remember with that first guy who got his heart ripped out, but he's still alive and everything. What I think is going on, there could be some like hallucinogens in that room. It's a very compact room. They're inside. Mm-hmm. Everyone's getting high as balls. So
you don't think anyone got literally heart ripped?
No. I think Mola Ram is using the power of suggestion and hallucinogens to keep these people under his control. Because remember what that kid said, the blood of Kali keeps you in a living nightmare.
Yeah, a waking nightmare.
Yeah, so it's not entirely supernatural. Like, I don't think these people actually believe in it. They're just using it to their benefit. But like, you know,
But how do you explain the stones catching on fire after Indy does the chant on the bridge?
Well, she was pissed.
But you're kind of
like, yeah, they don't believe in it. They're using it to their advantage, but it's still a thing. Is this making any sense to anyone else but me?
I don't know, because Mola Ram still tried to rip out Indy's heart right before that scene too.
He's getting high on his own supply.
I don't know.
Or maybe he thought he could do it. Or it's just magic.
But then how does it catch fire? How does the heart catch fire?
Magic.
Yeah, I think
or the
and this is one of my biggest gripes, because Indiana Jones is always skeptical. He's skeptical in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is technically a sequel to this movie. He's skeptical in Last Crusade, and he's all the way skeptical in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And at the time of recording, we've already seen a trailer for Dial of Destiny. And he even says that he doesn't believe in all the mumbo-jumbo, to steal a line he had in Star Wars. But he's like, I believe in some parts of it. But like, at that point, you've seen Aliens. You've seen this, you know, you've seen, dang it,
the Ark of the Covenant.
Well, yeah, no, the Ark, but this was, what is it, like thuggy magic or something?
Well, yeah.
You've seen like Indian spiritual magic, you know, at this point, and you've seen the Lost Ark. You told Marion not to look into it. How do you believe all this stuff without, you know, actually believing that some of this stuff could be supernatural?
Well, I think he takes it on a case-by-case basis, you know. This thing in particular might be real, but maybe this other thing isn't. Maybe this other thing isn't. But, I mean, they end up being real, but that doesn't necessarily... It still makes sense for Indy, you know, to not believe something until he has concrete proof of it.
Right.
It is a little weird, but there is an answer for it.
Yeah. I do want to point out that this is the first instance of Indiana Jones not successfully getting the main treasure for himself in these movies.
Chronologically, yes.
Chronologically, yes. Well, also...
Well, just by going by the movies. I'm not sure of...
I'm saying
Young Indy.
Like the first instance in these movies. Which would be chronologically, but also, yeah. Because the Lost Ark, he succeeded in his mission of getting it for the government. But let's not forget that he wanted to get the stones for the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Fortune and glory.
Yeah, fortune and glory. But then he decided to bring it back to the village, because that's where it deserved to be. And also he was afraid Shiva was gonna, you know...
Eat his ass.
Yeah, something like that. And Last Crusade, we'll get into it, but yeah, he definitely does not succeed there. Unless the journey was to get his father's love.
Well, yeah, because remember, he didn't care about the Grail. He just wanted to get his dad back.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. But there's something else I wanted to mention about Temple of Doom that I neglected to mention in our Raiders portion. In each of these movies, there's some sort of like spooky, creepy, crawly thing that's there to unnerve the audience. In Raiders, of course, it was snakes, which most of those snakes were actually legless lizards.
Yeah.
You know, for one, they were easier to wrangle, cheaper, and just not venomous.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell they're lizards because they're a bit plumper and they have ear holes.
Yeah. I might have something for you that you probably might not have known.
All right. Well, what was it?
All right. So this might give it away to you, but obviously this would have been shooting in 1979.
What, Raiders?
Raiders, yeah. Raiders was shooting in 1979.
Yeah.
That scene in The Well of Souls was shot at Pinewood Studios.
Oh, we're...
what other movie would be shooting in 79?
Star Wars.
79.
Empire.
No. The Shining.
Oh, okay. Duh.
Yeah. So, the set actually got shut down because Kubrick didn't like them shooting by them, and he claimed that one of the snakes from the Raiders of the Lost Ark set made it onto the set of The Shining.
I may have heard that, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right though.
Kubrick was a dickhead.
He was a freaking artist, but he was not a nice person.
They often don't correlate. In my experience.
Anyways, now the creepy crawly for this movie is bugs.
Bugs.
And
Yeah.
yeah, this one really made me uncomfortable because of all the centipedes.
Yeah.
Which I also mentioned in when we were watching Raiders. Going back to Lego Indiana Jones, obviously a great game from our childhoods, but in Lego Indiana Jones they had a mechanic that didn't return for any other game except probably Lego Indiana Jones 2, which was not that good of a game. It was like they basically condensed all the movies into like an arena kind of thing, so the levels were all just not as good as the classic Lego Indiana Jones. Anyway, but the mechanic of fear was only in the Lego Indiana Jones games, where certain characters would not be able to traverse through certain parts of the game because there was something that they feared. It was snakes, rats, and bugs.
Yes.
Which you mentioned.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Pretty good attention to detail with that game.
Yeah.
I really wish I was able to play that because I love it so much.
I think you can get it pretty cheap on PC.
It's at my house.
We're going to your house. Although that's not even the best Lego game, though.
No, but probably the best Lego movie game.
What about Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga?
No, I still like Indiana Jones.
Anyways, what else is there to say about Temple of Doom?
I would like to say that I used to think Willie was an annoying character, but now watching it again, I realize that I would definitely be Willie in that situation.
She's honestly not as bad as
Yeah.
people say that she is.
Yeah.
She's not the Jar Jar Binks of this movie.
No.
Jar Jar Binks is much worse. And I will have a controversial opinion for you that I have told you guys many times.
You have.
when we get the Crystal Skull. But
well, I don't hate Willie. I don't think she's as bad as a lot of people say, but
you have a noise thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I would be complaining too if I was stuck in this situation and I had to walk through the jungle in someone else's clothes. I'd be complaining the whole time.
I don't hate Willie, but she's very easy to make fun of.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. Well, at least she's not a Nazi like the next Indiana Jones girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even still, the Nazi was not as whiny.
I do want to say this. They were definitely going in the right path with giving Indiana Jones a sidekick that isn't the female love interest.
Yeah, Short Round's great.
Short
yeah,
Round
I
is
love
great,
Short
and Mutt is Mutt. We'll get to Mutt in.
Yeah.
But it seems like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is from an amazing show called Fleabag on Amazon. If you guys haven't seen it, but that's what I know her from. She's also in a Harry Styles music video, "Treat People with Kindness."
She's also in Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yes, she is the voice of one of the robots there.
The one who wants rights.
Yeah, but she is a phenomenal actress, phenomenal writer. She's actually taking over writing for Dial of Destiny. She has a writing credit on Dial of Destiny too, but she is obviously... We're going to get the Dial of Destiny when we get the Dial of Destiny. Okay, well... But Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I feel like she's going to be the next Indy sidekick, which is great, because I love it when Indy has a sidekick. I liked Mutt. Short Round is great.
I love Indy's dad.
Yeah, I guess Indy's dad is the sidekick in that movie. All right, is that... are we ready to start Last Crusade?
Yeah, I think we are.
All right.
Now, this next one we're going to get into, Last Crusade, is my favorite indie movie. Well, for reasons I will mention when we get there. So we'll see in a bit. Now we're back to talk about the next movie. We are here with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the final Indiana Jones movie there ever was.
In the 80s.
Yes.
As we were trying to tell Molly's mother last night.
Yeah.
6 minutes.
She's a very silly woman, but we love her. Now, Last Crusade, of course, stars Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and it also features the return of Denholm Elliott as Marcus Brody, and John Rhys Davies as Salo. This movie also features Sean Connery as Indy's father, Professor Henry Jones Sr., Alison Doody as Elsa, this Nazi woman who is trying to get the Grail, Julian Glover as Walter Donovan, the main bad guy of this movie, River Phoenix as a young Indy, And that's pretty much it. Well, there's another one. It's not really too important, but Donovan's wife in this movie is actually played by Julian Glover's wife in real life. That's kind of neat.
Yes.
Alright, so this movie, like I said, is my favorite of the Indiana Jones series. Probably still will be, even after the fifth one. That one, yes. And, well, I think it's my favorite because of really the relationship between Indy and his father. You know, growing up, I didn't necessarily have the best relationship with my dad. So, you know, just seeing these two have problems like we did, it's, I don't know, it's just kind of nice. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sure.
And just seeing them work through these issues and learn to come to respect each other, you know, I just really like seeing that. And honestly, I do like the story in this one better than any of the other three. That's just a personal taste for me. So, what are your guys' opinions on Last Crusade?
I mean, it's definitely the third indie movie. You know, I don't really know what to say. I mean, there's a lot of this movie that feels a lot like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, opening on a previous adventure, having Brody pick him up from the school, him going on a great quest, and all that. But you know, they definitely add some different aspects of it, like we mentioned with our last discussion, how Indy now has kind of a sidekick every movie that isn't necessarily the
Love interest.
Yes. And yeah, with his father this time, you know, Sean Connery, obviously very famous for the James Bond films. Kind of a coup for Spielberg to get him after being rejected in doing a Bond film nearly a decade prior by the Broccoli's.
Yeah, so pretty good casting when it comes to Sean Connery as Indy's dad. What about you?
I do like this one. I like the relationship and interactions between Indiana Jones and his dad. They're very fun to watch.
And I feel like this one might be the funniest of all the movies, you know, intentionally speaking. You know, it's just got these little things sprinkled in here and there that just makes me laugh every time.
I feel like this one definitely has more slapstick. Especially with Marcus Brody. Like I mentioned, I don't really like the partial Flanderization that Brody goes through. I feel like he was he was a very serious, kind of, confident and respectable character in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was a confidant to Indy. You could almost tell that they had kind of a mentor-mentee relationship back then, you know. But, yeah, it definitely seems like Marcus, as they say, he got lost in his own museum. You know, they definitely dumbed him down for this movie, and I can definitely tell that.
Oh, maybe he has dementia or something. I mean, it happens as people get older. But, for a reason out of story why they did that, yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Now, did we mention what they're going after in this movie?
The Holy Grail.
They're going after the Holy Grail, yes. Well, Indy's dad is going after the Holy Grail. Indy is going after his dad because he's told he's in trouble. So, yeah, he may not necessarily like the guy very much, but he's gonna go after him. He's gonna save him because it's his dad. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what Indy's after the whole time. He's trying to keep his dad safe because, I mean, look at the guy. The guy's he teaches medieval literature. He's not he's not like Indy, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to a pretty good amount of places in this one, I think. Maybe more than the other two movies.
I'd say definitely more than Temple of Doom, because Temple of Doom is just China and India.
Yeah. Raiders, they let's see. South America, stateside, Nepal, Egypt, that island, about 5 places. Where they go here? United States, coast of Portugal, Venice, Austria, Germany, Jordan, 6 places. Okay, good amount of places.
It's definitely the trilogy ender, so they definitely went big and went home, and you can definitely tell that this is supposed to be the end of the franchise, the way they all ride into the sunset.
Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it was not the end.
Well, we got Young Indy after this, which was kind of set up with the whole River Phoenix.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And regardless, Indy 5 may have been coming either way, although if Crystal Skull didn't happen, that would probably have been the 4th one.
Yeah.
But still 30 plus years later, but that's okay. That's alright.
You know,
legacy sequels are popular these days.
Right. Well, this movie, 89, came, about 21 years, well, no, it would be about 19 years.
Yeah, 19 years for Crystal Skull.
Yes. And then between Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny, I'd say that it's
15.
Yeah.
So
let me finish. But yeah.
All right. So, what was your guys' favorite scenes in this one?
I don't know if I have a specific scene. I guess I'm gonna go with one of the funnier scenes is when Indy and his dad are tied up together and his dad sets the room on fire. That one's pretty funny. I like that.
Yeah, that was interesting how they got out of that one. What about you, Alex?
Well, I'm definitely gonna go with the Young Indy stuff. I just really like it. It seems like it's kind of an origin of how Indiana Jones became Indiana Jones, but it's before everything was prequel heavy, I guess. Where we have to find out how the Force works, or we have to find out how Han Solo got his name. It's, you find out how he gets his hat, how he gets his whip, how he gets his fear of snakes, but it works really good. They even include a scene where he gets cut on the bottom of his chin, which isn't exactly a defining feature of Indiana Jones necessarily. It's a defining feature of Harrison Ford, so they felt like including that.
Yeah, that was neat. I'm not quite sure which scene is my favorite, because there's just a lot of really good ones. Like you said, there's the opening scene. There's when they're trying to get out of the chairs, and then the whole room catches on fire. There's the Venice speedboat chase. There's the battle in the desert. There's the whole part with the traps in the Grail Temple. There's so many to choose from that I'm not sure if I can actually pick just one.
Well, that Grail Temple does remind me of the Lego Indiana Jones video game. How that obviously is the ultimate level. It's the final level in the last film, so it's the last canonical level in the game. And they don't tell you how to get through it. You have to use kind of your... They hope you've seen the movies by now.
Well, if you're playing that game, it's probably good. There's a good chance that you have.
Well, yeah, but how many kids played Lego Star Wars without watching all the Star Wars movies? Especially with this, I don't think a lot of kids necessarily watched Indiana Jones before playing the Lego games. Maybe not necessarily, but I feel like, yeah, they didn't really tell you how to do everything, especially like the Jehovah stuff. You had to kind of guess around a little bit. They assumed you've seen the movie. So, but also as another thing that I point out in these episodes, not these episodes, but in these
viewings.
discussions
Oh.
is Family Guy. Now, I remember 2 Family Guy gags from Last Crusade. I know I said last time that I don't think there was any from Last Crusade, but there actually were 2. One isn't necessarily a gag, but it's like a reference to it, where Peter hums the opening train music during the hurricane episode. And then another one, which I remembered, was when they were in the Holy Grail room. It's a reference to that, and Peter picks the Holy Grail, and it's a mug that says Jesus or something like that.
It's like, I love Jesus or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I remember that as you were saying that. I haven't seen a whole lot of like recent Family Guy, so I couldn't say if there was any since, I don't know, 2006.
Yeah, I doubt any Crystal Skull. No, but I have something else we can talk about once we get to Crystal Skull. Another show that has a pretty notable Crystal Skull spoof.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
It's a real China problem, isn't it?
Molly, anything you want to say?
Nah. This is a good one. I did always like this Indiana Jones movie.
Now, the creepy crawly in this movie was rats. Now, like you said in the previous movie discussion, there's the fear parts of Lego Indiana Jones game. Now, and rats were one of them. That this was a fear for.
It was Elsa and
Indy's dad.
Yep.
Yeah. So if there was any rats in the room you were trying to get through, you couldn't get through with them.
Nope.
And
if I recall, I think Willie had all 3 of them that she was afraid of.
That sounds like Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this may be my favorite Indiana Jones movie, but I'm not sure what else to talk about concerning it.
It's a very not talk aboutable much movie.
I feel like I had stuff to talk about while the movie was going on, but like I was just thinking to myself, oh, I'll just save it for when we record, but I don't remember what it is now.
Yeah.
Oh, there is something that I just remembered. I like how in the opening we we get the fedora hat guy with the leather jacket that Indy later models his entire as himself off of. That was kind of neat. He gets his iconic fedora hat from the guy, and he tells him, "You lost today, kid, but that doesn't mean you gotta like it." And I think he really took that to heart.
Yes.
Considering he loses a lot in all the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do either of you have anything else to say?
No.
Nah.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Now, next we're going to be talking about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the latest Indiana Jones movie, and
For now.
And well, it's something. So, either of you have anything you want to say before we watch that one?
Let's just do it. Let's just
Better than the prequels.
watch it.
Yeah, let's do this. All right, now we're finally going to talk about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the most recent Indiana Jones movie at this very moment. Next year will be coming Dial of Destiny, the 5th one, and probably the one where Indy bites the big bullet.
I don't think he's gonna die.
We'll see. So, again, this stars Harrison Ford as who else? How long have we been sticking around with this? And it features the return of Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood from Raiders of the Lost Ark. But y'all knew that already. This movie also features Cate Blanchett as the villain of the movie, Irina Spalko, and Shia LaBeouf as Mutt Williams. But he's also Indy's and Marion's son. Yeah. This movie also features Ray Winston as Mac, an ally turned enemy of Indy this time around. He's...
I think it would just be ally turned enemy turned ally turned enemy.
Yeah. John Hurt as Professor Oxley, a friend of Indy's. He got lost in the jungles of South America trying to find this crystal skull. Found it, went crazy, returned it, took it back. He's doing all sorts of things with the skull. We got to watch that, man. And finally, Jim Broadbent as the new dean of the college. Yeah, always nice to see Jim Broadbent. Also, Emily just finding this out. This movie also features Neil Flynn in a cameo as a FBI agent. Those of you in the know that Neil Flynn was the janitor on Scrubs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You know, the best character on the show.
It's not Dr. Cox.
You're not Dr. Cox.
Where do you think we are right now?
No. Anyways, so this movie when it came out,
I will say a couple things. This movie definitely started a lot of different things in our modern society of filmmaking and modern filmmaking. This was definitely one of the first instances of a nostalgia sequel.
a legacy sequel.
Well, yes.
That's the word they're calling it these days.
Yeah, but it wasn't something, you know.
Well,
that,
I'd argue that Rocky Balboa might have been the one that started that trend in recent years.
maybe, but also, I think what helps this is that it was very much this, and the prequels were the first ones to really start just the vitriol of internet discourse when it comes to filmmaking. This movie and the prequels got so much hate on them in the early days of YouTube. And that's another thing. This was released in 2008.
Yeah.
Same year YouTube came out. So, you know, and what's the big takeaway from here? What's the big phrase from here? Your TV trope, if you would.
Which one?
Nuking the fridge.
Nuking the fridge, yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was just this movie helped propel just people bitching on the internet about movies in a big way.
Yeah.
Probably not the best the thing it could have done, but that's definitely what it's known for.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Rocky Balboa was received pretty positively by most people when that came out, so no real reason to bitch about that.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that Carl Weathers isn't in it. But what are you going to do about that?
I mean,
he's been absent for like the past 2 movies.
He was dead.
Yeah, but he still wanted to come back.
He was dead. What's he going to come back as a ghost? Is Rocky fighting a ghost?
You know, they could have done that.
No.
Come back as a ghost, man.
Why would...
Mickey did it in Rocky 5. No, he didn't. Anyways, we're not talking about Rocky 5.
He did that
just
in
yet.
Rocky 7, Adrian's Revenge.
No, he did it in Rocky 8, Mickey's Revenge. Get your sequels right. We did hear his voice in the end credit scenes of Rocky 7, though, so you are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yeah.
Anyways, but no, you are right though. YouTube was a pretty new thing when this movie came out. I don't think it was made in 2008 because I remember, watching stuff on YouTube in 2006. So definitely, this new thing that everyone's using, this new movie that not a lot of people like, come together, boom, we get people angry about movies on the internet, and the rest is history. So they say. Now,
I guess it did launch in 2005. 2008 is when it became YouTube, when it propelled.
Yeah, when a couple people who we watched as kids decided to use it to get their thoughts out there.
Yeah, but also other people that, other people that I started watching a lot later, like Red Letter Media and people like that, definitely helped propel that, I'm still trying to talk about like the vitriol of internet criticism when it comes to filmmaking. Like, this movie definitely got a lot of that. The prequels definitely, especially from Red Letter Media. Mr. Plinkett's Star Wars prequels reviews are just ingrained in everybody's mind. And like you were alluding to, Nostalgia Critic, Angry Video Game Nerd, they started out around that time. That was, kind of the era that it all began in. But
and here we are today, just doing what we do because we watched those guys that came before us. Really, when you think about it, it's kind of, I'm not sure how to say it. Like, what would you call that?
What would you call what?
Like the feeling of this long line of people bitching and ranting about stuff on the internet, and how it brought to what we're doing now. I don't know what the word would be, but
Jesus Christ, get your cock out of your hand, man. It's not that grandiose.
Anyways, let's get back to the movie. So,
Molly, why don't you say something?
Well, as many of you, if you watched the videos before, have learned that I don't really care for movie critics or discussing movies. I just watch them, and I just have fun doing it. This is a movie that is okay, in my honest opinion.
yeah,
It's just okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched this movie in a while, so maybe I don't know, got in my head, just call it crap and move on. But, like, watching it again, look, could have been worse.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Could have been better, too, but, it's still not that bad, honestly.
I really like this movie.
Like,
I don't know how to describe it, but it might have been because this is the first and only one I've seen in theaters so far, obviously because the others came out in the 1980s. But it could have been because I watched the other ones in succession with this movie around the time, and that's just... I didn't really know about the whole negativeness of this movie until a little bit later, but...
The internet hadn't told us that we're supposed to hate it yet.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Like, one of my most controversial takes, and I don't even think I've said this on Capacity Geek, but I would rather watch this movie instead of the Phantom Menace. And Attack of the Clones, too. Definitely Attack of the Clones.
I'm pretty sure you did say it on our Christmas special.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie. Like, I don't want to hear your vitriol about The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, the Clone Wars cartoon movie might actually be the legit worst, if we're not counting the Ewok movies or the holiday special. There's a lot of bad Star Wars out there, but the Clone Wars is the worst saga movie. Not the Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. Well, I go between that one and Rise of Skywalker. Whenever I think about it, look, those two, they could share the bottom spot for me, and I would not be upset about that.
I didn't even think you didn't like Rise of Skywalker that much.
Here's the thing, though. I can find at least one thing in each Star Wars movie that I can enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you're probably expecting me to say, except Rise of Skywalker or Attack of the Clones. No, I can find something in each of those, too.
Yeah.
None of these movies are devoid of any sort of unironic enjoyment.
No.
But, those two are just the ones that just don't do it for me the most.
Right. But speaking of this movie...
Yeah.
This is also a movie that I remember having a very strong marketing campaign. Like, I just remember everything for the first couple months that summer, or whenever it came out. Was it like May?
Yeah, it came out May of 08.
May of 08, right? So that spring, everything was like, Indiana Jones is back. There's this exciting burger at Burger King, which was actually really good. I think it was like bacon with a certain kind of barbecue sauce.
Yeah, maybe.
Or something like that. And then Dr. Pepper. I remember the Indiana Jones Dr. Pepper cans.
Yeah, I remember saving a couple of those cans because I was trying to get all of them, but I think I got maybe 2 out of 8 or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember the hype for this movie being really big. I went to go see it with my cousin, I think opening day. But Yeah, I really liked this movie when I first saw it.
I mean, I did too, and now, yeah, I still like it. I mean, by default, I do think it's still the worst Indiana Jones movie, but I really enjoy all 4 of them, so that's not saying a whole lot. Just you know, personally for me, I prefer all the ones that came before it, but I still do really like this one.
Yeah, it's not bad. It has good elements. It's exciting. It has funny parts. It's fine.
Yeah, let's talk about those elephants in the room, all those controversial, moments that everyone likes to point to and says, this movie sucks because of that, this, that, or whatever. So where do we want to begin? Let's start. Let's start with nuking the fridge.
Yeah, I mean,
now this isn't actually too unrealistic. For one, he's in a fridge that's lined with lead. All right, that's already going to protect you from the radiation. Okay, fine, I can buy that. And 2, it's not unlikely that the fridge itself would survive it's not unlikely that the fridge would survive a nuclear blast, because Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there were people who were protected behind stone walls. Okay, and they were fine. And also it also depends on how far you are from the epicenter of the blast. Indy looked maybe a mile or 2 away from it, so yeah, perfectly understandable that he would survive in the fridge. However, him getting, the fridge getting thrown, however far it was thrown and tumbling around and stuff, he wouldn't survive that. However, there's one key thing you gotta remember though. It's a movie.
Right, like in Temple of Doom, he jumped out of a plane probably miles above the ground, and he landed completely fine onto a snowy mountain using a life preserver. And I know MythBusters, they did this one. Did they do Nuke the Fridge?
No. How are they gonna do that?
They just put a dummy inside the fridge and see if it survives.
Well, no, like they did test the the jumping out of the plane with the with the raft, and they also did falling through the awnings. The falling through the awnings was survivable, but you're not going to be feeling too good.
No, I don't imagine. And that was also leading up to this movie because they had an Indiana Jones special.
And the the falling out of the plane, that was deemed busted because he wouldn't have survived. However, again, these are movies. You have to suspend some sort of disbelief when watching them.
And one thing we've neglected this entire time to talk about is what the true inspiration for these movies are. The first 3 movies are inspired by the action-adventure serials that Lucas and Spielberg grew up watching.
Yeah,
specifically Lucas.
Yeah, you got action serials, you got James Bond movies, you have all sorts of movies where the protagonists and stuff go through all sorts of stuff and come out pretty much okay. So,
and what was big in the 1950s?
Aliens.
The B movie trend.
That too.
Yeah. So of course, I feel like it's not too illogical that there are aliens, interdimensional beings in these movies. I mean, God exists in these movies, like
a few gods.
A few gods, yeah. Depends on which one you believe in.
Yeah. So, I don't necessarily. Well, concerning the aliens, I don't really feel either way. Like, they're here.
They're queer. Get used to it.
Sure. What's another thing that people were upset about?
It's mainly just the aliens and nuking the fridge. Some people have problems with Mutt, but like he's a greaser in the 1950s, so just George Lucas had a thing with greasers. If you remember American Graffiti and stuff, so did Stephen King. A lot of his antagonizers were greasers.
Oh, that's weird. Well, I don't care for Mutt, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's the worst thing in any movie ever.
No.
Okay, like there's much worse. Yeah. So
Shia LaBeouf,
I can tolerate Mutt at least.
Shia LaBeouf was a hot commodity in 2007, 2008. If you don't remember,
yeah. Transformers. He came off all those Disney series he was in.
Suburbia.
Even Stevens.
No, Suburbia was the.
Oh, Disturbia.
Disturbia, that's the one.
From what I understand, it's basically just a remake of Rear Window, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen that either, so I don't know.
And then obviously, like you said, Holes. That was a little bit earlier in his career.
Yeah, that was around the same time he was doing Even Stevens.
Yeah.
Great adaptation, by the way.
Right.
So, yeah, it makes sense that they would cast Shia LaBeouf. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but whatever. He's...
Honestly, I've said before, if they made Jurassic World and it was just Jurassic Park 4 immediately after they did Part 3, which was the original plan, I feel like he probably would have been in the... damn it, what's his name? The guy...
the kid who was the older brother?
Yeah. Damn it, I should know that. I love Simon.
Yeah, the guy from Love, Simon.
Yeah.
I
know it's Ty Simpkins and then Zach something.
Stall for a second while I look this up.
I don't know how to stall.
Zach.
I just have a cough. I'm just dying over here. No big deal.
Nick Robinson.
Nick Robinson. Why did I think it was... Is that his name in the movie?
His name in Jurassic World? Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, Nick Robinson. I feel like him and Spencer Breslin would have been like the kids, you know, in that role if it was made a lot earlier.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. I think I also said that, like, instead of Chris Pratt, it would have been...
Zach. That was his name in Jurassic World.
Yeah, I said Zach.
Okay.
Instead of Chris Pratt, I probably would have put Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah. You know,
I feel like 90s Jurassic World would have been a whole fuckery.
Yeah, but like early 2000s Jurassic World, though. Brendan Fraser. I mean, come on.
No, I feel Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, I feel like Brendan Fraser would have been the more likely choice, given the success of the Mummy movies, Looney Tunes Back in Action, all that stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like if it's the counterpart, it would have been the funny sitcom star, you know, from Parks and Rec. It would have been Matt LeBlanc.
Well, who knows?
Definitely Uma Thurman as Bryce Dallas Howard's character.
Don't tempt me.
And George Clooney as the...
Vincent D'Onofrio character?
No. The owner.
Oh yeah, Simon Masrani.
Yeah. I forget who I said. We'll look at the Reddit post later. We don't, you know. But, yeah, Shia LaBeouf was a hot commodity at the time, you know. He didn't get weird yet, and honestly, if he came back for Indy 5, I'd be cool with it.
So, do you have anything to contribute?
Probably not. I've been sitting on the couch all day. I'm tired. I'm ready for this to be over.
Put your hands down, will you? You're embarrassing us.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
Anyways, so, what were you guys' favorite scenes from this movie?
Damn, I thought that was closer.
I guess the jungle scene. I'm not usually the one who will put the chase scene in a movie as my favorite, but yeah. No, okay, hold on. The chase through the town. You know, the get that greaser scene. I really like that.
Yeah, that was fun. What about you?
Why don't you go first?
I was hoping you would go first.
Because I really don't know. Jeez, I have no idea.
Okay, I have one. The opening scene when they're in Area 51. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I liked when I like when the Ark of the Covenant had a cameo. That was pretty neat. Yeah, like everything from like the opening to Indy and that Russian guy getting off that giant sled. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something now?
No.
Okay, well,
I don't know. I can't pick. Nothing is standing out to me with this one.
we're just gonna pass on that. Then.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
I think it's about time we discuss Dial of Destiny.
Yeah. So, just to wrap things up, Indy 4, not as bad as everyone says. It's pretty all right.
I think you should give Indy 4 a chance, specifically you.
Who are you talking to?
They know.
Okay. So, Dial of Destiny, the next indie movie that we're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
So
you think he's gonna die?
Well, it's just by going off of The Force Awakens, I'm thinking it's possible.
I don't know, because a lot of people have said that Harrison Ford loves the Indiana Jones franchise and he hates the Star Wars franchise, so he might not want to let Indy die. And it's also been said either by him or the director James Mangold that, well, first off, they had it was Mangold. Mangold had to address the rumors that there was going to be, one, time travel. Thank you, Grace Randolph. And two, that Indiana Jones was going to be erased from the timeline and all his adventures would have been done by Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, which, you know, feminism or not, sounds like a terrible fucking thing to do.
Yeah, like, why would you do that?
Right. He went on the defense and he said that is definitely not what's happening in this movie. Nobody can replace Indiana Jones like that.
Like, even if just replacing Indy in this timeline with anyone would be a bad move to make.
Yeah. Unless you recasted, which doesn't seem like anything anybody wants to do.
Well, at that point, it's just still Indy. It's just someone else playing him.
Yeah. I mean, I think you mentioned, at some point you mentioned Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
There was that discussion after Jurassic World and after Guardians of the Galaxy saying that he was going to be Indy.
Yeah, there was that. So I wouldn't mind that, but I don't think they're gonna do that.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. Would I like a young Indiana Jones reboot on Disney Plus? Sure, make more episodes.
Get Alden Ehrenreich to do it.
Yeah, he was good in Solo.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. I don't think Indiana Jones is going to die, and I think I told you my one theory for Dial of Destiny at the end scene of this, where Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character calls Indy her godfather.
Yeah.
You know, that's the relationship there. So I feel like she is the daughter of Oxley in this movie, John Hurt, who recently passed away.
He did. Gonna have to check when he died.
This year or last.
I think you may be right. I'm gonna check there. Just keep stalling.
I don't know. I don't know how to say.
Just speak.
Anyway, yeah, so is it important when he died?
It's 2017.
Is that why I
Christ
was
alive,
closer?
man.
I just wanted to know. I wanted to know. Anyways.
So, yeah, I feel like it's going to be Oxley's daughter. Oxley's daughter. Unless they have already acknowledged what her name is, and it's not Oxley, I'll look it up on faster.
I don't. It's entirely possible that she could be.
Yeah.
And like, even if she has like a different last name, she could always have gotten married, and still.
Right.
It would still fit. It's okay. But yeah, she could be that. She could be an original character. Who knows at this point? Unless they have said, like you said.
Yeah. I do want to point out that she also has a writing credit for No Time to Die.
Oh yeah, she did do that, didn't she?
Yeah. Her name is Helen.
Well, that just gives us her first name. So. But
Pretty stacked cast for Dial of Destiny. Antonio Banderas, Toby Jones.
Sweet.
Mads Mikkelsen is going to be the villain.
Oh yeah.
Nazis are back. Ooh, some hot dude named Sam Sharp is going to be in it.
Calm down. Yeah, the reason why Spielberg didn't want to do Nazis for Crystal Skull is, well, two reasons. One, after Schindler's List, he didn't want to have them play the cartoony villain like they did in Raiders and Last Crusade. And also, time passed, it makes sense for another faction to step in as the bad guys.
So, I mentioned earlier that the 1960s kind of brought the B-movie trend to the 50s brought the B-movie to it. What do you think is going to be in the 60s?
Maybe some sort of counterculture vibe.
I definitely get that. Maybe more like punk. It seems like part of it is going to be in England.
Yeah, like also Boyd Holbrook's going to be in this too.
Boyd Holbrook, and of course John Rhys Davies and Toby Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so great to see Sala again in the trailer.
He looks old.
Well, he's in his 70s at least.
Yeah. something like that.
Man was old when he did Lord of the Rings. So, all three of us are definitely looking forward to Dial of Destiny. That's going to be definitely one of my most anticipated movies from next year. Of course, I forgot a lot of what's coming out next year, so who knows?
Yeah. So, I guess now that we're done, we should probably rank them.
Yeah, sounds good to me. How about one of you two go first? How about you, Mal?
Okay. Here's my. I'll go down to top. So worst to best, in my opinion. Oh, sorry, I'm not close to the mic. Anyway, so worst to best. Worst is not. It's probably Crystal Skull. Not because it's a bad movie, just because I just didn't like it as the other three. After that would probably be. Honestly, I'm gonna go with Raiders. Because, like I said, it kind of loses my attention there. And then I think I'm going to go Last Crusade and then Temple of Doom on top. It held my attention the most, and I liked the characters more. So that's my ranking.
Alright, so I guess bottom to top is the way to go. Last Crusade at the bottom. I just feel like more of the other films grab me in a way. And it really is a toss-up between Last Crusade and Kingdom of Crystal Skull, which I'm going to put up just because I have more of a fun time. I like it. You know, it's, yeah. You know, I realize both of them kind of have a father-son dynamic in the movie. So, just looking at the menu, again, seeing scenes with Indy and Mutt and everything, I don't know. That's not what, drives me to put it above Last Crusade. It's just, I don't know. I have fun with Crystal Skull. Second one, gotta be Raiders. It's a classic. It's phenomenal in every way, besides that one theory I brought up. But I just, like Molly said, I like Temple of Doom. It's spooky, it's fun. It's got a lot more of things that pique my interest. It starts with a musical number, for Christ's sakes.
All right, for me, I'd say Crystal Skull is bottom. Like I said, I don't dislike the movie. I just don't like it as much as the others. Next would be Temple of Doom. I just okay. Explaining why I prefer the other two above this one is kind of hard, but I think I may have something. I think I like the consistency of the first and the third one more. I feel like they gel more together as opposed to the second one. Maybe that's what does it for me. I don't know. I'm just gonna say that because that's the only thing I can think of at the moment. Second would be Raiders. I love the story. I love the just how we get to meet all of these people that we're going to learn to love throughout the years. And first, Last Crusade for me. Like I said before, I love the father-son dynamic between Indy and his dad. I love the story better than the others. It's just a perfect adventure movie for me. It does everything that I can want right, and whenever it's on, I am down to watch it, just beginning to end, or whenever it starts, wherever I start in it, just turn on in the middle. Okay, I'm here. I'm staying here for the next however much longer we got. An hour? Okay, let's go.
I kind of want to see what was in that Indiana Jones burger.
It's probably just a Whopper, but with added
Barbecue
stuff.
sauce. I think it had onion rings too. That's another discussion. All right.
So that will do it for us for our Indiana Jones discussion. This was a pretty fun day. We watched some really fun movies, and we had a pretty fun guest on.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So we will catch you guys next time.
See you next time.
Laters.